All right, hello. I just got a bunch of exciting messages about podcast things. What? Who's starting a podcast? What? Who's Ashley Gavin and Mac Injemy and Alayna Joy starting a podcast? Who said that? What? Hi everybody. I am here to react to more of your scary stories. The first video that I did like this in honor of spooky season will be linked in the description if you want to watch that too. Ew, that's really creepy. No, I hate this. Basically, there were too many good scary stories for me to only make one video. So here we are doing another one. For any of you who don't know me, hi, my name's Alayna Joy. I make videos mostly about the queer community here on this channel, sex, dating, relationships, but sometimes I respond to your submissions. Usually it's gay secrets. Today, scary shit. I was gonna do this, but then I second guessed this, decided not to do this, and instead just like made some like claws with my hands. Gay panic is what that was. Cause I'm like, this is for the bis, right? This is bisexual culture. This was gay panic. Okay, let's read some scary stories. The last video actually freaked me out. Those stories were actually freaky. I cried. And now I have refreshed my coffee and we're back for more because I can't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. My experience with scary things, it doesn't add up. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I love scary stuff when it's not happening. I love horror movies. I love them after I'm done watching it. Like when I'm watching it, when I'm in it, when I'm reading the scary stories, I hate everything. I hate my life. I want it to be over. I don't know why I'm doing this to myself. But then as soon as it's over, I'm like, don't be shy. Give me some more. Don't be shy. Put some more. I don't know why I do this to myself and then I have nightmares. I do it to myself. Okay, let's go. Hello. Hi. When I was 8, I was driving around with my aunt and mom. I was in the back seat looking outside the window and I saw a beautiful big white house with a purple roof off on a side road. I asked my aunt to turn around so we could go look at it. My mom and aunt were confused because there's no large houses in that part of the reservation we were on. We drove past and it wasn't there. My mom asked what it looked like again and she had to explain to me that the house I saw was torn down 2 years before I was born. I've literally seen a ghost house. Rochelle. That's so bizarre. Like, how does that happen? A white house with a purple roof. Sounds ugly. No wonder they tore it down. Just kidding. This is only one of the stories I have. Please tell me you submitted all of them. When I was around 10 years old, I would sleep with my bedroom door open and my TV on. My mom would sometimes come into my room to turn the volume down on my TV. I hate this. I hate this. I have a feeling where it's going. We're gonna have fake mom. We're gonna have not real mom. Demon mom is coming into the room one night. I feel it in my bones. Well, this one night I pretended to be asleep when who I thought was my mom came into my room to turn down the volume on my TV. I saw a figure standing in front of my TV. I closed my eyes, and to my surprise, the volume on my TV went to full blast. And I jumped out of my bed to turn it down, only later realizing that whoever was standing in front of my TV was no longer there. I somehow fell asleep, and in the morning I asked my mom why she turned up the volume on my TV. I still thought it was her, and she had no clue what I was talking about. My mom is also not the type to joke around like that. This is like a level above because it's creepy enough to wake up and see figures in your room. I would know. But to have the figure affect the physical world around you is just an absolute no thank you from me. I'll never forget. I was probably about 10 to 12 years old. I had a desk in my bedroom where I did my homework at the end of my bed by my window. In the middle of the night, I woke up. No. And the chair at the desk was standing on its back 2 legs like someone was sitting in it and leaning back. Once I fully noticed it, it fell back into its natural position. I'll never forget it. Oh, see, like again, Oh, you wake up and you see something, right? You can kind of convince yourself, oh, maybe I'm dreaming, maybe I'm like not really fully here, I'm like half awake, I'm seeing shit. But then when you hear it, like that's the difference for me, right? Like when you would hear the chair fall back into its place, when you hear the TV volume go up, it hits different. One night, I was taking a stroll through the forest behind my house. Mistake number 1. With my friend Bubba. Okay, at least not alone. I take it back. You're doing good. Good safety. Talking up a storm about sexuality, of course. Ooh, we've got a crossover episode. We were in there for only about 5 minutes before things went south. Great. I assume that's why you're writing to me today. We started hearing whispers. No, thank you. And it suddenly got really cold. We decided to turn around and go back home because we didn't want to end up in a horror movie. Again, great safety choices. But as soon as we turned But as soon as we turned around, there was a man blocking the main path. We tried calling out and asking who he was, but there was no reply. I couldn't make out any facial characteristics. It's a demon. That sounds like a demon to me. So I had no idea who it was. I turned to Bubba and the look on his face terrified me. He mouthed, "Run," and we bolted around the path and out into safety. As we ran towards my house, I looked back and the man was gone. I stopped and was so confused. I talked later about it with Bubba and we both agreed it felt very strange and unsettling and almost evil. That night we were watching the news and found out a murderer killed himself in that forest about a week prior. I've never gone back to the forest, but just thinking about it scares the living shit out of me. You don't say. I mean, I have to give you credit. I think you made all the right choices. Other than just like walking in the woods, period. Like, it's spooky season, okay? We don't walk in the woods in spooky season. I feel like I need to like take a breath between these. It's a lot, I feel stressed. One week when I was younger, my parents went out of town. I'm the oldest and have 2 younger brothers, so my uncle came to stay with us to make sure we didn't burn down the house. Please tell me that's not foreshadowing. Around 3 a.m., I woke up to chaos unfolding. My uncle was running around freaking out and his little 2-year-old was screaming bloody murder. I went into the room she was sleeping in and noticed plants knocked over and the curtains pushed aside and her pack and play had been moved. Don't know what a pack and play is. My first thought is not something for a 2-year-old. That's inappropriate, Alayna. This is not the kind of pack and play I'm doing, you know? One thing to note about my little baby cousin is that she has insane social anxiety. Aww. And anyone who is an immediate family cannot go near her without her panicking. After she had calmed down, he tried asking her what happened. All she did was point to the window and mimic the motion for shh, pointer finger covering the mouth. She only does this when someone else has done it and she can echo it back. Oh God. This scared my uncle, so he went outside to investigate. No, he noticed a crowbar mark on the window, and it was evident that someone was trying to break in. This was scary as hell because the room she was sleeping in is the only room that no one sleeps in. Whoever tried to break in had been watching us for quite some time and understood the layout of our home. He just wasn't expecting a baby to be in there that night. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Humans are scarier than ghosts. Actual humans are so much more frightening than actual ghosts. Like when I go camping, I'm not scared of bears. I'm not scared of haunted woods. I'm scared of axe murderers. Oh God, what's your spookiest story? I woke up to the sound of my mother screaming in her sleep. And when I turned to look at her, I saw a dark shadow leaning over her. When I turned the light on, the shadow disappeared and she awoke and stopped screaming. She said she was being chased in her dream by a shadow person. I hate every sentence of that. Thank you so much. What's your spookiest story? I saw my parents having sex. 10-year-old me was terrified. Honestly, 20-year-old me is still terrified. Traumatizing? Absolutely. But also, like, good for them, right? Like, get it, parents. You go. Okay. Oh God. The first sentence, just immediately, the first sentence. When I was a kid, our house was old and had a partially unfinished basement. We hate it. That is where my parents kept all my toys, games, etc. It was such a creepy space because when you were down there, it always felt like someone was watching you. Ugh. It was such a weird and distinct feeling that I found out years later my friends had felt it too. I wasn't crazy. One day when I was home alone, I went downstairs to get some stuff, but I didn't get that feeling. While gathering my things, I heard loud footsteps right above me walking down the hallway upstairs. I froze, unable to decide if I should run back to my room upstairs or stay in the creepy basement. When the footsteps finally stopped, I waited and listened. The feeling of being watched suddenly came back, so I ran upstairs only to find nope, only to find that every single door leading to my room was closed. I had left them open. I firmly believe that house was haunted. Nope. I do not claim it. I do not claim it. I do not claim it. This happened in 2008-2009. A friend of mine, my sister and myself were having a sleepover. Our neighborhood was basically a huge square. We lived in opposite... Hi, Bugs. We lived on opposite corners of the square. Yes, hi, sweetheart. You want to be a part of this? We lived on opposite corners of the square. In the evening, we took a walk around the block and found this cat. How did you know? How did you know we were going to talk about a cat? It wasn't fully feral, but scrunkly. That's my favorite description of a cat ever. Not fully feral, but a little scrunkly. My friend decided to pick up this cat and took it back home to ask her mom if she could keep it. Her mom said no and told us to put it back where we found it. At this point, it's getting dark out and we had to make the 12-minute walk there and back in the dark. We dropped off the cat and started to make our way back to her home. The road we took connected our neighborhood to the main road in our small town, and there was barely any streetlights. As we got closer to where we would turn down the next road to her home, we saw two fairly large men in hoodies walking up from the main road of town right towards us. My older sister started to feel odd and turned to me. Don't you see those men? Why are they walking like that? She was holding my shoulder at this point, and the next thing I heard was feet pounding on the street and my sister and friend screaming "run" almost in sync. We jumped the stone wall into the yard of this old rundown duplex to take a shortcut behind all the homes to get to her home faster. When I looked back, I saw these two men jumping the stone wall after us. I was the closest to them. My sister's flip-flops flew off and I stupidly stopped to grab them. All I can remember is one of the man's faces as he was coming over the wall was his creepy sunken-in eyes. We kept running. First we went to her aunt's home, no answer, so we kept running, afraid they would catch us at her door. Finally we made it to her home, screaming and slamming on the door. Her father came out with a shotgun. He heard us screaming at the aunt's home down the road, and when we turned around, the men weren't there anymore. What makes this story creepy... You don't need anything to make the story creepy. The story is already creepy. Years later, I learned that the town I lived in was very close to a correctional facility for the insane. Like, doesn't even need to be men from a correctional facility. Just men chasing you down the street, jumping walls to chase you is absolutely not okay behavior. Jail. Both of them. Oh boy, okay. This one's got a couple of paragraphs, so you know it's gonna be good. Okay. Yuck. Okay, here goes. It's late summer in the mid-2000s. I'm probably 7 or 8 years old, and my brother is 3 years older than myself. My dad is outside in our backyard working on a fire. From my brother's room, where my brother and I were hanging out, we could clearly see my dad working in the backyard, but didn't know where our mom was, and we figured she was inside. I'm sitting on my brother's bed, and he's in a chair at his desk. We can both see his bedroom door from 2 different angles. It's open slightly, enough to fit your arm through. That is a horrifying way to describe distance. Why did you describe it like that? If there is an arm that's about to come through this door, I will end this video. That's your warning. The hallway outside is dark. The sun practically set outside, and the ceiling light in my brother's room is flicked on. I'm mid-sentence, and while I'm talking, I take a look around the room and land my gaze near the door. I stop my sentence entirely and pause for a moment. I say, "Mom, is that you?" and get no response. My brother moves his chair a bit closer to me and looks at the door. We stare in silence for a few seconds, waiting for a response. My brother says, "Hey Ma, do you need something?" I'm getting goosebumps. We wait for a response. We're both staring at a figure that looks like it's in the crack of the door just outside my brother's room. We're both waiting to hear our mom's voice, and we get nothing in return. In maybe the most tense walk of my young life, excuse me, I got a cat hair in my nose or something. I get up and walk towards the door, push it open, and see nothing but an empty hallway. My brother and I run downstairs and find our mom sitting with our dad in the backyard. We tell them in a panic what happened. My dad sweeps the house and finds nothing. Looking back, the easy answer is overactive imaginations and trick of the light that evening equals hallway ghost. But thinking on that evening, my brother and I held our gaze on the door for a good while from 2 different angles of the room with the lights on, and both were sure we saw our mom and waited for her to talk to us. Yucky! Yucky! Get it away from me. Keeping at it. Keeping on, keeping on. Oh! So when I was little, I used to sleep in the same room as my sister, who's 10 years older. She said when I was about 2 years old, I started saying, "There's a man behind the door." 2-year-olds should not be allowed to speak. Every time before going to sleep. She was obviously scared, so my mom took me to an auntie who could see ghosts, and she said it was a colleague of my father. Pretty straightforward, right? No. So 20 years I have passed, and I was talking to my mom the other day, and she said my dad secretly had a thing with a colleague of his that eventually passed. So one revelation is that my dad's fruity. Wait, what? And 2, I saw my dad's lover. Ha 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 ha. Okay, this truly is a crossover episode. Okay, wait, so hold on, rewind. What? When you were 2, you saw the ghost of your dad's dead gay lover standing behind your bedroom door before you would go to sleep. Was this before or after the dad's gay lover died? Very important detail. I have my Alexa on my nightstand, and she's connected to all of my lights in my bedroom. I had just gotten into bed, and I told Alexa to turn off the lights. She turned them off and then proceeded to whisper incoherently for about 10 seconds. Just me in the dark with whispering Alexa. Like, whispering, automatically creepy. Whispering incoherently, even worse. Whispering incoherently coming from your smart speaker? Are you hearing another dimension? Have we tapped into paranormal radio on Spotify? When I was about 4 years old, I fell down, as 4-year-olds do. There was this man who lived somewhere on our street. He had this old house with an antique store in it. So without saying a word, as far as I can remember, he could have said something that I blocked out. He came, picked me up, kissed me in the face, and left. To this day, when I see him, I get scared. Ew. Don't touch other people's children. Like, for starters, don't kiss other people's children. I shouldn't have to say that. So, short one. My partner talks/moves in his sleep. Same. Usually it's just some words and some incoherent mumbling or sitting up randomly, things like that. But once he was kind of drumming on his chest, and I thought he was awake, so I asked him some questions, and he responded incoherently. So I was gonna have some fun with him, and when I asked him, "What's that beat?" he turned his head around, almost looking through me, and said clear as day, "Oh, this? It's pretty cool, right? It's the last sound you hear before you die." And then he fell back asleep. Safe to say, I didn't sleep for shit that night. He's really f***ing lucky that I love him, because that was not it. No. Like, when I talk in my sleep, I'm saying stuff about yogurt elbows and expensive fish. None of this. The night my granddad died, I had a dream of the family sitting in the garden having coffee like we always did in the summers. And then my granddad gets up from the table hurriedly, saying he has to go, and he seemed really stressed, telling us all he loves us and that he'll be back later to check on us, but that he had to go. So he left in a hurry, and then I woke up to my mother coming into my room, telling me that the hospital had called, saying he had passed away around 1 hour prior. That still haunts me to this day, 9 years later. Whoa, okay, I'm getting chills. We didn't even know he was sick, and he died really suddenly without any warning. And it gets weirder. Around 5 years after he died, I met my partner, who shares a birthday and a middle name with my granddad. Whoa, okay, I'm getting goosebumps. And we had this really weird instant, I feel like I know you connection. He has so many personality traits that my granddad had, even their mannerisms. They're so similar. Even though my partner grew up on the other side of the world from me in a totally different culture, it's just one of the things that keeps me up at night sometimes. Those ones always give me the creeps. Like the dreaming about someone and like dreaming about their death or them leaving or something, and then like finding out that as you were dreaming that they passed away. Ooh, I think I'm gonna end on that one. How are you guys enjoying these videos of me like reacting to different kinds of your submissions? Because like I said, usually I do gay secrets, but this was really fun. And it's got me thinking, what other kinds of stories, confessions, memories could I react to? Let me know if there's any other like themes you'd wanna see in the comments down below. But that's it for this video. If you haven't already checked out my Patreon, I will be doing more of these in live streams over there, like reading more secret submissions, reading these scary submissions. I've started doing Patreon exclusive live streams every month. On top of the bonus content that I post, I do monthly bonus videos over on my Patreon. We have a Discord, a private Discord server that we all chat in. You can get your name in the VIP credits, my vitally important producers. There's all sorts of fun stuff over on my Patreon. Not only does it help me be able to continue creating the content that I want to create, the content that you all want to see, without needing to worry as much about being monetized by Daddy YouTube when talking about queer stuff, but I also work really hard to try and make it a valuable place for all of you. But that's it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Go follow me over on Instagram if you don't already, because that's where the magic happens. I love you very much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye! Then suddenly, seemingly appearing from out of nowhere, a car comes barreling down the road. I run and push my friend to the side of the road, taking her down with me. Scariest thing I've ever experienced. Well, and our house was on the tarantula belt in California, so big spiders all the time. I love that you're like, near-death experience? Spiders.